7.NS.2.a, B, and C. This is 7th grade, the number system, part 2, subparts A, B, and C. And I crowded all of this into the same video. It looks very, very intimidating and very scary, but don't be afraid. It is basically multiplying and dividing rational numbers using certain rules, and then the part C down there is just using some of the properties, mainly the distributive property today with these rational numbers. So don't be afraid. It is very wordy. I'm going to go through some problems that's going to explain what all of these words mean on page 1. Terms to know, I believe we have all of these written down. Double check, make sure in your journal. If not, get them written down with some definitions. I have multiple pages of rules for you. This is page 1 of the rules. This is multiplying fractions. And I like multiplying fractions. It's one of the easiest things that we do. We can multiply straight across. Anytime we want, we could just multiply straight across and get our answers and then simplify at the end. Some students like to do some cross canceling, which makes your simplifying at the end a lot easier. I do promote that. Special note, you cannot have B or D equaling 0. So if you come over here in the bottom denominator, B and D, if they were to be zeros, then you have another undefined fraction, which we're not going to be dealing with any undefined fractions. This is the division. There's one slight change when it comes to dividing fractions. Remember from the past that you are to multiply by the inverse or the reciprocal. So we have A over B divided by C over D. You keep the first fraction the same, you change division to multiplication, and then you take the reciprocal or multiplicative inverse of the second fraction. You flip it upside down, and then you do what we did on the last screen. You multiply straight across, and simplify. B, C, and D cannot equal 0. So over here in the bottom, B and D we know of. Now that we flip the fraction upside down, you cannot have C when we do our final simplifying. I have a lot of rules, like I said before. It's very scary and very intimidating. As we talk more about it on the video and a lot more in class, this is going to be, I believe, quite simple for you. So don't be afraid of all of the screens that you've seen so far. Copy this one down. It'll make sense when we do the problems. This is for multiplying integers. Pause the video. This is a screen for dividing integers. Basically, the sign rules are exactly the same. The only difference is you are dividing instead of multiplying. So negative rules still apply for these multiplying and dividing. Completely different from the adding and subtracting rules. Just wipe the adding and subtracting rules out of your brains for right now. They are separate from multiplying and dividing. Let's multiply. We have two fractions. Denominators are not the same, but it does not matter for multiplying. We just, as we said in the rules, we multiply straight across. So in the top, we have 3 times 1 and 5 times 8. And make sure you simplify that or reduce it, and we are done with that one. We can, in the second problem, cross cancel. I see that we have a 5 and a 5 right here and here. I am going to do that. I like cross canceling to make my simplifying easier. So what goes into 5 and 5? Well, 5 goes into both of them one time here and one time. Multiply straight across. There's nothing we could do with the 2 and the 7, so we go straight across, and we have a 2 times 1 is 2, and a 1 times 7 is a 7. and we have a negative in here. So a negative times a positive. If we go back to our chart, a negative times a positive is right here. What is the answer? Negative. So there's one negative sign. We come up to the top here. If the amount of negative signs is an odd number, in this case there was one, and one is an odd number, that means your answer is negative. So we have negative 2/7, we have negative 2/7, or we have negative right in the middle, negative 2/7. The third one, I highly suggest you take your mixed numbers and turn them into improper fractions. I think it's the easiest thing to do for multiplying and dividing and even subtracting. I'll be honest, I like to do it with subtracting also. I take my mixed numbers and turn them improper. So we have negative 4/3. We have negative 16/5. If you forgot how to do that, make sure you see me. Look to cross cancel. Is there anything to cross cancel in our fractions? 3 and 16, no. So it looks like we're going to multiply across. That's 64. 3 times 5 is 15. Think about your negatives. I have two negatives. 2 is an even number of negatives, so my answer must be positive. Positive 64/15 is improper. So 15 goes into 64 4 times. That's going to get me 60. With 4 left over my denominator. Is that fraction simplified? Yes. So positive 4 and 4/15. The difficulty level goes up here with division because we can't divide. So what we're going to do is multiply. So if I change this to a multiplication problem, first fraction stays the same. We change it to multiplication, and we take the reciprocal of 7/9 and make it 9/7. I'm going to cross cancel my 6 and 9. 3 goes into 6 twice, and 3 goes into 9 3 times. I cannot cross cancel these two. So multiply straight across. 5 times 3, 15. 2 times 7 is 14, improper. 1 and 1/14. Problem 2. Keep negative 1/6 the same. So we have negative 1/6 multiplied by, well, this is 3 over 1. That's the fraction of 3. So if I were to multiply by its reciprocal, it would be 1/3. Nothing to cross cancel. So 1 multiplied by 1 is 1. 6 times 3 is 18. And we have a negative. So one negative would make this answer negative 1/18. Negative 1/18. Or right in the middle, negative 1/18. Any of these three. You don't need all of them, you just need one of those three options. The third problem, negative 8 is not a fraction, so I'm going to put it over 1. And I need to change the second one into an improper fraction. So this will be negative 11/4. Let's change colors here. So we have negative 8. Now we're multiplying by what? Well, if this was negative 11/4 to begin, we have to multiply by the reciprocal, which is 4/11. I don't see anything to cross cancel. No. Okay. We have in the top 32 over 11. And count up your signs. I see 2 negative signs that would make my answer positive, except this is improper. So 11 goes into 32 only 2 times with 10 leftovers. 10 left over your denominator, and that should be it. Let me double check. -4, 32, and I think we're looking good. This was part C of that big scary first page. I kind of copy and pasted a little part of that standard up in the black writing. And we are going to now apply one of our properties to this distributive problem. Let's see how this goes. If a number or rational number is touching a parenthesis, we are going to distribute. So that means we're going to multiply inside. We've already done the distributive property. So we're going to go 1/2 multiplied by the first term, which is 12x. We got to put it over 1. And then we're going to subtract 1/2 multiplied by 18 over 1. And what is that going to all simplify to? Cancel, cancel. 2 goes into here 1, 2 goes into here 6x times. So we're going to end up with 1 times 6x in the top, and in the bottom 1 multiplied by 1 minus, what are we going to get here? Cancel, cancel, 1 and 9. So minus 1 times 9 in the top and 1 times 1 in the denominator. So simplify that out. 6x over 1 is equal to 6x. 9 divided by 1 is 9. So we just used the distributive property with a rational number touching it on the outside. A rational number product. All right, same idea in this one. Pause the video and give it a try yourself. Okay, we're back. Distributive property. Distribute the -1/3. So we're going to have -1/3 multiplied by 3x, make it a fraction, minus, subtracted by another -1/3 times 15 over 1. All right, a little tougher. Cross cancel. Negative times a positive is a negative. 1 times 1x is 1x in the top. 1 times 1 in the bottom. Minus what? Cancel. 1 times 5 in the top. And 1 times 1 in the bottom. And that would be a negative times positive is a negative. So we have a negative negative. And what is a negative negative? Let's simplify this. We have -1x right here. A negative negative. Negative negative means add the inverse. So that means -1x plus 5. Final answer. All right, if those were a little bit more on the difficult side for you, we are going to do some more of these in class, and please come to me and ask me if that is really, really tough for you. I know the signs get a little tricky. Last problem. This is a real world situation that you're going to come across when you need to know how to multiply or divide these rationals. Take a look at the problem. It says that we have a standard movie poster and we need to put it on a wall. Now, how many of these movie posters are we able to put on this 13.5-foot size wall? What operation do you think you're going to use? You guessed it, division. If I have a 13.5-foot wall, I don't know, I'm just going to draw a line across here. If I have a 13.5, let's make it a rectangle. I don't know what color this is, but not a great color. I don't know, that didn't help. Okay, let's say that we have a 13.5-foot wall and I have a bunch of these little posters that I have to put in there. I don't know how many am I going to be able to put in there, and they're all the same size at 2 1/4 feet. We're going to use division. So 13.5-foot wall is divided by a 2 1/4 foot wide poster. And we're just going to follow what we did before with these mixed numbers. I'm going to change them into impropers. So this is 27 halves divided by 9/4, and you can't divide fractions, so we're going to change it to multiplying. 27 over 2 multiplied by the reciprocal. Look to cross cancel. We have a lot of things we can cancel here. That's good. Cancel, cancel here, and then cancel. 9 goes into 9 once, 9 goes into 27 3 times, and goes straight across. So 6 over 1, which is 6 standard movie posters. I like to write my unit in there. Standard movie posters can fit without overlapping. So they're right next to each other. That is it. In your journal, please define the given terms if you haven't done so already on page 2 of the flip chart. Write down a few sentences of what you learned from the video and any questions that you might have. And finally, create a word problem that has a real-world context involving multiplying or dividing rational numbers, just like the one I did in the last screen. That is one of those word problems. So go try to make up one that's different from mine. See you in class.